So it was a moose who could catch knuckleballs.
Oh my god, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Don't sexualize this, you fucking pig.
Next time, give it loud everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're gonna have next time. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
Why, hello everybody, and welcome to an open mic pain with an Anthony and Wayne. How you doing, Wayne?
I'm doing really well. Almost forgot to unmute my mic. How are you doing?
That's because you're a dumb piece of shit. I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to have a regular mic talk, with the kids around. We just don't get out, by ourselves anymore. So it's good to talk about that. We got a lot of shit going on. We do. We've done a lot. Got a lot coming up. I think
this
coolest...
month alone, just September, between now and the end of September, between the two of us, we're got a lot of comedy that you can go see.
Every weekend, baby, you can find us somewhere. So we have so much going on. I think the coolest thing to start talking about is we were able to put on our first show ever for OMP Productions. So we've co-produced some shows in the past, where we've put on the production and all that kind of stuff. But we never went the whole deal by ourselves. This was the first time. It was a private show, actually, which is a great way to do your first one. That's for sure. You don't have the worry of ticket sales behind you and all that kind of stuff that makes it a little bit more anxiety-driven. But we did a show in Loudon, and by we, I mean Wayne, because I was not there. But we'll explain that later. You talk about how that show came to be and how it went.
Yeah, so first off, big thank you to Jacques Lambert because he filled your shoes pretty well, helping me with setup. He was the host of the show, breakdown, and he drove my ass there and back. So
you always find a ride, you sneaky little bitch. Sorry.
No, I offered to drive. He said no.
You offer to drive like a girl offers to pay for dinner. Sorry, go ahead.
I had all the equipment in the car. I said, "Do you want to hop in?" He goes, "No, I want to drive." I was like, "Okay."
I mean, I can use my credit card to pay, I guess, if you take it.
I had no problem driving.
I have no problem paying. All right, go ahead.
Anyways, so we had a private show. We did. We had Carolyn Plummer as the headliner. Absolutely,
who's the greatest?
Yeah, she was incredible. Not only was she incredibly funny, not only did she kill it, but I didn't see her on her phone one time the entire time. She was watching the comics, hanging out with the comics, talking with the people at the show. True lady of the people, if I have to say so.
Yep, professional, and I don't know. Like maybe you could put some people on par with her, but as far as like the headliners around Boston right now, I don't know if there's anybody funnier.
Yeah, she. It's just awe-inspiring to watch somebody like that, and see that is so far away from where we are.
Yeah, puts in perspective how bad you are, doesn't it?
Sure does. But no, it was a great show. So it was a sold-out show. 101 tickets. It was at a campground, so it was something that they did for their campers, I guess is what you would call them.
It's crazy how they sold out, and their only demographic they can sell to were their own campers. That's insane. That must have been such a high ratio of the adults wanting to do that show.
That's kind of a good example of, when we're talking about where we're going to look for places to put shows on, and you kind of poo-poo smaller towns. Like I mentioned, my town is only like 11,000 people. But the way they explained it to me is, there's nothing going on here. So of course we're going to go do that. And it's the same thing with my town. There's nothing going on.
No, your theory's so stupid, though. Stupid as fuck. Because the campground, listen, this is why you're dumb. The campground, the people are there like they're in jail. They're there already, meaning they're, when you have an event at a jail, all the jailers go to the event because that's all they can do because they're stuck in jail. So
my
these
town
campers,
is like a jail.
Your town is like a jail for poor whites, that's for sure. Pepperell. Listen, I love that town, and you only want to put a show there because it's close to you, but that's fine. We could do it. I never said not to do it. I'm just telling you that I can read your mind and to know why you want to do things. So, yeah, we're going to go to that fucking 5-people town, and we
It's
will be the talk of
11,000
the
people
town.
in this town.
How many people are in Lowell? I'll wait while you look it up. It's 400,000.
There might be 400,000, but only 11,000 of them can read any flyers we post.
All right. Well, if 11,000, that's still would take 100% rate of everybody in your town to go to the show in order to make up what Lowell can do in people that are already in our criteria market.
So with 11,000 people, that's only like 0.1%.
This is the problem, Wayne. You're making the argument that a small town could be on par or preferential to a big city. Hold on. Because everybody in that town hates the town and the town sucks, so it's going to be a big event for the town. That's your argument. That's such a bad argument.
I never said that they hate the town and it sucks. I said there's not much going on here.
Do you just say a synonym and then say it's not the same thing?
No, I'm saying there's not much going on. There's not. They don't have a ton of things. So when they have like a parade on Main Street, it's fucking packed. When they have like a craft fair, it's fucking packed. When they have,
why don't the Red
some old
Sox
man
play in
feeding ducks
Pepperell?
in the park? People are watching, dude.
That's funny. That's probably true. So, but then the Red Sox would play there. Every Taylor Swift, when she came to town, she'd go to Pepperell. She wouldn't go anywhere else because, I mean,
Taylor
there's
Swift's
nothing
not doing
going on in the
100-seat comedy show.
It doesn't matter. It's
Doesn't
still
matter.
you said it's better than the bigger cities because there's not a
scale it,
lot of
bitch.
events going on.
Scale it.
How come nothing happens there then? Does it just e-commerce or regular commerce not understand that Pepperell's a town? Or is there not enough people there to sustain proper commerce?
I don't think it's really. I mean, people know Pepperell for things. Like, it's random shit, though, from, like, back in the 80s. Like, I was actually talking to a customer today. He's like, oh, you live in Pepperell? They used to have a motocross track there back in 1983.
Yeah.
That's when I did my first race ever. I was like, oh, well, they don't have that anymore. There's, something else going on there that nobody cares about.
Well, I'm in the opinion of you can do a show anywhere. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying if you pick Boston or you pick Pepperell and you're trying to argue that Pepperell's better because there's not a lot of events there, I'm going to call you a dumbass.
I didn't say it's better. I said it's possible. I said we would have a good turnout.
I didn't. Then what are you arguing then? I didn't tell you that we would. I would tell you that.
I don't know.
It's
You came at me, bro.
I didn't come at you. I just said let's go to a bigger city because it's better. And you're like, it's definitely not as good, but we could still do it if that's your argument.
I don't think I said that. But anyways, I think we left off with how the show was. So yeah, it was. Oh yeah, that's how you
We just
were
argued
talking
for 5 minutes about Pepperell.
You had said that it's impressive that they sold out in a campground.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's because they, if you're going to a campground every weekend, I'm assuming you're just possibly drinking and sitting around a campfire and whatever fun things are going on, you're going to go check it out because what else are you going to do? But overall, it ended up being a fantastic night. Over 100 people there. Everybody did really well. We had Beautiful Dan. We had X-Tina. Justin George. Then myself. Carolyn Plummer. And the wonderful piece of shit, very good friend of the show, Jacques Lambert, was the host, and he absolutely crushed it as well.
Huge piece of shit. He called me a festering piece of shit today, which was great because I got to think about what that would mean. Because a lot of the time, shit is gonna, turn, dog white, we call it, and dog pastel white, and it's gonna disintegrate and go away. But festering means that it has been placed in the proper environment to sustain and get worse, and that's what I am. So, good call by Jacques.
It's a very good call.
All right, so my first show ever with OMP Productions, and I wasn't there. Why wasn't I there, Wayne?
You were there because you were the first loser of the South Shore Comedy Clash this year.
It was.
Which got you a spot opening for Boston legend Steve Sweeney
That's how you lose your way to the top.
at the Sweeney's Comedy Den, which I said much
did.
better tonight than I did last night.
So last week, yeah, you did. You flubber.
You know what I was thinking of? I'm not even going to say what I was thinking of. Never mind.
Okay, there you go. In Wayne's brain. It should. If Wayne ever says ever to you in the wild, if he says, "Oh, did you?" Never mind. Don't say what were you gonna say. Don't do it. Just let it fucking stay in there because it was definitely gonna be something that would tear your life down. All right. So Steve Sweeney, last week on the podcast, John Tobin, Toby Bear, so great. What a guy. He was talking about
Toby Bear.
Yeah. You know, come on. So
Cut that.
he
That's
was
okay.
talking about. Good man, he'll love it. He was talking about Steve Sweeney, and he said, and Lenny Clark, and he said their favorite thing to do, which is why Rogan and Sandler also talked about how hard it was to do stand-up in Boston, was they would, when they were headlining, instead of headlining, they would go up and do 20 minutes in front of you and blow the place down, and then introduce you, and then heckle you, which is a hilarious thing to do, and then it happened to me, because that's exactly what Steve Sweeney did. He's the funniest person in the world, I think, probably, by a lot. And the show is Steve Sweeney at Steve Sweeney's Comedy Den, so guess what people are there to see? Steve. And then he went out, blew their face off, and then brought me up and was like, now your turn. And that was really cool. I gotta say, because, like...
Did he say that to you?
No,
Like, did he say anything to you when he brought you up? We didn't get a chance to talk about this that much, me and you.
Oh yeah, no. So he said I wrote my name out phonetically for him because he asked me to, and then he said it wrong still. And then as I went up, he's like, "Did I say it right?" And I took the microphone and I said, "You guys can tell Steve Sweeney that he said my name wrong. I'm not going to tell them that." And that was
said
a
it to the
great
audience?
set. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was a good way to start the set.
That's incredible.
Yeah, good little pop. But yeah, no, he was awesome. So he's just like an incredibly unique guy. He sat us down before the show and he was talking to us about, asking us where we're from, all that. Just like being a really awesome guy. But he does hilarious things that you would never think about doing. Like somebody came by to get him a drink and he was like, "Can I have water?" But not like a regular water, maybe one with bubbles in it. And it's really confusing way to say he wants carbonated water. She's like, "You want a soda water?" He's like, "I don't know, maybe." And he just went on this long thing, sophisticatedly ordered the water. And then when she walked away, he got up and left. And I just laughed at the table for like 15 minutes until the waitress came back and went, "Shit, Steve." And she knew, that's just what that guy's an awesome creature. But anyways, Steve is great. Blew the place down. He did material in between every person, and then went up and headlined at the end.
How much time do you think he did in total?
He probably did an hour, I would say, because he did 20 up front, 20 at the end, and then sprinkled shit in between everybody. Had to have sprinkled 5 minutes at least in between every person, so it's got to be somewhere near an hour.
Yeah, so it was you, Alyssa Penson, Trevor Nutt,
Yep.
Mike
Trevor
Atrobus,
Nutt.
and Pat Collins, right?
Pat didn't do any time, but he did open the show up just like to say hello. But Mike did 15 minutes after me, Alyssa, and Trevor, right before Steve. And Steve obviously did the 20 up front and then brought me up directly from that. That was really cool because, afterwards, like I knew I had to work for laughs while I was doing it. And I didn't put together that it was because Steve just blew the doors off the place and everybody was disappointed that he wasn't still up there, which sucks. But at the time I didn't really know that. I was doing great, everything went good. I just felt like I had to over give my bits, go a little hard in order to get the laughs that I wanted. And I got them. It just, like last time I went there were huge laughs during even setups and places I normally don't get them. It was just constant good laughter. So afterwards I got off, I was like, man, that was really fun, but that was tough. I had to work for it. And I was talking to Mike and he said, that's like you just followed Steve Sweeney at Steve Sweeney's Comedy. That's probably the hardest set in the world to do. And, it was just fun to do it. Just that'll be the set I remember, probably when I'm senile. I'll be like, I'll remember that I followed him and I didn't die.
You said something that I was thinking, when we first started, this might not make any sense. And for anybody that might be listening, maybe that phrase doesn't make sense. And I think we kind of get it now, but not necessarily fully to the extent that we should, maybe. I don't know. But you said you had to work for the laughs. So when we first started out, you mentioned many times that I did as well, that they're going to get what they get. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But there comes a point where you're like, man, this is a tough crowd. Maybe I have to put a little more into it. You know what I mean? Like for instance, that's something I found with one of my jokes about my son, where I talk about like kind of like I was an asshole, and there's a point where I really kind of have to act it out a little bit, where I get like really kind of sad and disturbed at one fact, and then angry at another. And when I first started doing it, I just kind of said it. And as time went on, I was like, no, I have to work for that laugh. It's not just funny because of the words. It's funny because of the emotion. Yep. And when I see a tough crowd, and if I'm doing that bit, I realize I really have to put that in. Like, I really have to go for it.
Yeah, to me, it's like, it's a little, I do think about those things a little bit, but it's not so much that. It's more, the best way I can describe it is when you're fishing and you got like a fish on the line, if you let it slack at all, the fish has the mobility to shake its head and get the hook out of its mouth and leave.
Throw the hook, yep.
Yeah. So when I'm doing a set, you almost feel like the line's tight when things are going really well. You feel like the energy's there and all that. And when you go in a direction that you shouldn't go, you can feel the line loosen up. You can feel them kind of pull away from you a bit. And that's definitely something that I've just started being able to notice a little bit as I'm going. Normally I'm like, this isn't going well. Why? And I can more figure out in bits, while like, oh, they're not really feeling this. I got to take a turn.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy, because I've kind of caught myself doing that too, where maybe I'm like, oh, they're going to like this. And then when I say it, they're like, oh, they didn't like that. So instead of normally you'd wait and kind of maybe have a pause in between, wait for a laugh, or maybe this is a good chance to take a sip of water. You're like, oh, they didn't like that. I got to just pull on that line again real quick. Just keep it taut, keep going. That's a really good.
Right.
And I want to hate on you so bad, but you have really good analogies.
I do. But I mean, the good thing, I throw a lot of them out there. So sometimes I'm like, you know what this is exactly like? It's exactly like a bath full of raccoons. And you're like, what? And it just doesn't end up making sense. So
I've seen a lot of videos lately of baby raccoons.
They're the greatest.
Fucking adorable.
They're so adorable.
I want one. But I had one actually, so I'm in my basement. I had a raccoon living in this crawl space right here.
I was about to say, I've been in your house. There's definitely raccoons in there.
Yeah, well, there was one, like a month or two after we bought the house, one broke in there and we didn't know what it was. And we were able to get rid of it. But I kind of wish I just caught it and
fed it Cheerios.
Fed it Cheerios, yep.
Gave
it some cotton candy and water.
Exactly. And break its fucking illusion of the world. You like give them sentience when you do that, because they're just like, oh my god, nothing's real.
Yeah, they got fucking hands, dude.
They got hands. Little hands
it's
on them.
Incredible.
Little robbers.
Yep.
So cute. Did you play Sly Fox or whatever the hell that what was
Sly
that
Cooper?
game called?
Yeah, I love the Sly Cooper games, yeah.
There was Sly Cooper. I wasn't a Sly Cooper person. It was a precursor to something. Wasn't it a precursor to a game that came out now, like how oh yeah. It was, what's the name? Uncharted. Isn't that the same people?
Yes. Yes, it was made by No, it was not.
No?
No. That was Jack and Daxter. Was made by Naughty Dog.
Motherfucker.
Well, who made? Was it Ben? I think it might have been Ben Studios that made Sly Cooper, but the fourth one was made by somebody else.
Well,
Ben is who made Days Gone. I could be completely wrong on that, and I'm sure nobody listening is going to know.
Yeah, no one cares. So we did Steve Sweeney. That's great. I'm with Steve Sweeney again on September 22nd on a Sunday. Me, Jen Howe, and Gianni Saltalamacchia. What a great name. That's the old catcher for the Red Sox.
Dude,
he was
pronunciation?
Yeah, no, I mean, the only reason why he was one of my favorite players. Played for the Red Sox. He was a catcher, and he was Tim Wakefield. God bless his soul. He was the best knuckleball player in the history of the game. Eat shit if you don't think so. And he was so good that they only had 2 catchers ever that could catch him on the Red Sox. And it was Doug Marabelli, who was kind of like had my body, and so he just could catch a knuckleball. So they were like, "Yeah, man, you're the only one who could do it. So who cares that you bat 150 every fucking year?" But Jared Saltalamacchia, now that was different. That man was a horse. That man was a moose. He was a big boy, and he used to smash home runs. And also, he can catch Tim Wakefield's knuckleball. So that's a cool why I can say Gianni's name perfectly.
So it was a moose who could catch knuckleballs.
Oh my God! Yeah, definitely, definitely. Don't sexualize this, you fucking pig.
Real quick aside, when we were when my wife was pregnant with my son, I found this app. You know, like women have the app that's like the pregnancy app. It's like, oh, your child's the size of an almond. I found this one called Daddy Up, and it would give you. I used
that one.
What's that?
I used that one. Yeah, you gave me that recommendation.
Yeah. So it'll give you things like manly things like, oh, your son's the size of a chipmunk, or it's the size of like a bear scat. And one of them was the size. He's the size of a moose hoof. And I was like, how big is a moose hoof? So I went on Google and I typed in moose hoof, and it just knew or just assumed I wanted moose knuckle. So like, that's what I got. I just got Google image search of moose knuckles.
God damn, that's gross. Yeah, I knew you were going to sexualize it in a second when I started talking about Jared Saltalamacchia, and as you should. I thought, here's a funny, real quick aside. A sketch idea that I had, I think that would be hilarious, is that, so I think to bring sketches into the new world, you don't do them like old sketches where you're like at a convenience store or anything like that. Make fun of things that are online now. So for instance, like product reviews on TikTok and all that, where they do the quick ones. I thought it'd be funny to do a sketch where it's you're a guy doing product reviews on YouTube, but everything that you review, you just say it seems kind of sexual. And just like the guy's a pervert. So he'd be like, oh my God, Fresca soda, never had it before. Let's try it, everybody. And then he takes a sip and he's like, seems kind of sexual. And then you do that for every item. I think that'd be hilarious. Damn, don't make me bomb like that.
Maybe.
At least fucking fake it. That's funny. Fuck you. Think about it. Just like, the product reviews where like they're tapping stuff and they're like playing with the phone. They're like, oh, this thing does this. Imagine if the guy just was a pervert. No? Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's a no for me, dog.
Yeah. God damn it. Talk about Saltalamacchia again. All right, sorry. What are you doing next, Wayne? How about that? Because you're doing something this Friday that is technically going to be 3 days ago, technically, when this podcast comes out. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm doing the Wicked Funny contest. I'm in the first round with Jacques Lambert. Alex Mann's going to be on it. Lauren Sims. Gianni's actually on that as well. There's a few other people as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it is being capped off by the great, wonderful Boston legend, Tony V.
Tony motherfucking
and hosted by Jim Bishop, the winner from last year.
Can you say Tony V's last name properly? Go ahead.
Isn't it Viveiros?
Viveiros. Yeah, you don't do the Viveiros. He's Portuguese. It's crazy.
Is he Portuguese?
Yeah, that's a Portuguese
I
last
assumed
name.
Italian.
No, I actually knew a Viveiros growing up.
Huh.
I wonder if they're related. But yeah, that's a Portuguese last name.
Very cool. But yeah,
I'm assuming it's Portuguese.
I've been putting my set together this week for what I'm going to do for that. Well, I have been, but I've had some shows with longer sets and things, and we did the 19 Carter open mic last night, which I hosted, and I didn't want to go there with my tried and true stuff, so I tried new stuff. But we can get to that in a minute. But I've been working on the 5 minutes that I'm going to do on Friday, and it's interesting now putting it together versus when I put it together for the Comedy Clash versus when I was trying to put it together for the Burren. the things you learn and the ideologies you have about a 5-minute set versus a 5-minute contest set versus whatever, who's going to be there, who's going to be judging, who's going to be whatever.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting thing to do, and just seeing that change throughout the different contests.
Yeah, I was blown away by your set list because I just keep forgetting. Because when you first started, because I think it was only a year and a half ago. So for like the first 8 months-ish, maybe you correct me on the time, if you did a 5-minute set, it was like 2 jokes. And then you sent me your set list and it was like 12 jokes. And I was like, damn, they're fucking fits a lot of them in there.
So that's something I wanted to kind of talk to you about. We didn't get a chance to talk too much since last night, but so I did 5 minutes of jokes that I've either never done before or I've done once or twice. And it was funny just doing them. And then I was kind of going through them a little bit today. And one of them was like a 2-minute joke about my neighbor, which I think went okay, but there was so much fluff. And it was fun to just go in and go, delete, delete, delete. These are the things that hit, and I can just work around that.
Can I take a victory lap for the things that I told you were going to hit, and the things I told you weren't going to hit, didn't hit?
I don't know. I don't remember what you told me would hit and what wouldn't.
I said take out the whole thing in the beginning with explaining your neighbor. Or just have her come to the door and say the stuff.
You told me you don't have to explain that her porch is next to my yard.
Yeah, Yeah. No. More than that, because you kept in some things.
I kept in trying to describe her.
Oh, that's what I mean.
So you might have said, because I kept in the whole I lit the coals, went inside, grabbed the food, came out, and she was there. I was kind of trying to make it be like, boom. She like almost like putting in the head. She saw me outside, so she decided to come out and start peeping on me. But it didn't.
I just didn't like the Boston accent of her name, just because I hate when people do Boston accents.
The what? She has that though. So that's a true story.
Oh, I know, but you gotta untrue it because people don't want to hear gross voices like that.
She had a gross voice though.
I know, Wayne.
Yeah.
What does untrue mean? It means make it different.
Maybe,
but I like it.
Maybe, because I've told that story to many people, obviously not on stage. And
don't say that you told a story to people in real life and equate it to doing a stand-up joke, please.
No, I'm just saying they enjoyed the fact that she sounded like she sounded. So
I know your friends in real life did, but that's not stand-up. Keep going.
So what would you rather have me do?
What do you mean?
So I walk outside. I'll
don't do an impression of the neighbor. I would say just go right to the, when you're saying, like, you explain the situation from your perspective, not her perspective, because her perspective is interesting.
Maybe.
Definitely. All right, keep going. You weren't expecting me to have a really solvent good point to why you should do that. And
no. All right. Here's my counterpoint to that. Is that might be the way that you would write a joke, right? No. That might be the way that you would tell a joke. That's not necessarily the way somebody else would tell a joke. Other people might want to elaborate on the way somebody sounds, or the way and it might add to the story if they do it well. Obviously, I probably didn't do it well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I agree that you can do things different sometimes, if that's your point.
To a point, it is my point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your point. You were like, it could be sometimes, but sometimes it could not be. You're like, how's that for a counter?
I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, let's say, like, what would you call your best joke?
I don't know. What would you call my best joke? I'll let you perfectly set up your situation.
I'll say probably your most... I don't know. I really like California Sober, but I don't know that it's your best joke. But let's say California Sober.
Yeah, good enough. Sure.
You do that, and it hits every time. Now, if I were to write that same joke and try to write it in the way you write jokes, it probably wouldn't hit. Same way, like, if you were to take Down for Love and write it in your style, it may not hit.
Yeah, I'm not telling you to write it in my style. I didn't tell you to do anything weed related or hit my punchlines. I just told you that the perspective that you had with the lady was not funny, and the perspective that you had from yours in there was funny. So
Yeah,
I
but
would just say highlight the funny part.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Bang.
Yeah, it was fun to go. One to host an open mic. 15. It was 14 people. Yeah, 14 people. That's a lot. It's a
Oh
lot.
yeah, for the open mic.
It's
Yeah.
a lot when you're hosting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean you did it, and when just to try to keep track of that, keep track of the time, keep track, and then people get off fast. And
I
you
know
run
you
up.
got to run all the time. Yeah, it's sweaty.
Yeah,
That's,
it was.
That's work.
Yeah, but it was fun. It kind of brought me back to my DJing days a little bit.
Is that the first open mic you hosted?
First open mic I posted. Yeah,
Oh, there you go. I didn't even know that.
yeah.
You did good.
So it was good. Yeah, it was a good time. But it was also fun doing a set of all new material, and then being able to have the ability to get up on the mic 15 times, and then occasionally sprinkle in something. If I was like, I want to run this joke, I'm gonna do that real quick. Quick little 30-second joke, and it's like, I don't want to be like, you go to some mics and they're like doing 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes in between every comic. I didn't want to do that, but I felt perfectly fine and privileged to do maybe a 30-second joke here and there.
Yeah, nobody's paying attention. It doesn't matter. At those open mics, it's just you're supposed to go up there and do that so you can get your reps in for sure. Because it doesn't. That was an open mic. Now, like you said, you're going out there with new shit. You're not trying to do your tried and true shit. So it's really just to get the voice out. It wasn't like everybody in there was blowing the place down, because there's no way to blow the place down in there.
Yeah.
Just very valuable to, and we talk about our bits too afterwards. So it's just valuable to do it in front of people and get around good comedians that like were in there.
Yep.
I have a headlining gig at the end of the month, which is means I got to tell every joke I ever wrote. So this week was fun to do new 5 minutes that I'd never done before, just so I can see if there's anything new that I want to work into the set that I'm doing later in the month that's really long, which you're going to be on there too. 27th.
Yes, thank you. Thanks to you.
That's right. I get to bring, felt so good. They're like, would you like to bring anybody to open for you? I was like, how long I've been wanting to hear that. No, I do want Wayne on every show I do though. So I was excited to be able to bring you aboard. We're going to kick Justin George too.
Yeah, Justin George. So gigantic piece of shit.
Huge piece of shit, but going to be great on that show. But yeah, anyways, it was good to try new stuff.
Who else is on the show? Is it just us three? Or did he has
there's going to be more. I think there's going to be more. Gianni's going to host. I don't know who else is going to be on yet, though. I did just get the flyer, so I'll post that. So that's cool. First time anybody going to put me in that position, and I'm uncomfortable doing it, but I think that is the point. Yep. So I'm trying to push myself past what I'm comfortable for. It's going to help me write new material and just ironclad in the things that are there, because I want to start being able to do 20 to 30 minutes. If I can get comfortable in that range, you can feature at that point, and you can strong feature in a lot of places. And in these situations, you can headline showcases and stuff where you don't have to do 35 minutes.
Yeah.
So, if I can get in that range, it'll push to the next level, and that might be the next level for us. So I'm excited to do that. Plenty of other shit going on too. Matt Brown, I want to mention. Matt P. Brown is filming his comedy special. We love Matt Brown, Water Champ, at the Portsmouth Music Hall on November 2nd. And I'm going to open for him there. So I'm really honored to do that. It's really cool. Incredible venue, obviously. So I think it's almost sold out.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's almost sold out from last I saw.
In 5 minutes, he almost sold the thing out. So that's testament to that animal.
Yep. We both had the pleasure of working with him a couple times. First time I did was that Smitty show that I've talked about many times.
He headlined that, right?
Yeah, and I gotta say he was so gracious and so nice. Not even knowing me, I just got a 5-minute spot on there and complimented me when I got off and all that stuff, and then talked to me a little bit after and stuff. And yeah, he's such a good dude. Like he's the pinnacle. Definitely. He's just like a Carolyn Plummer. Carolyn Plummer or Steve York. He was watching. He was paying attention, and he was So incredible. That's
Yeah,
that's what you want.
Incredible. I can't believe you reached out and asked me to open for him. Pumped about that. We're going to not let him down. I'm going to try lots of jokes for a while, and we're going to get them all ironclad for that thing. So that's going to be a good time. So fucking go to that in the future.
Yeah.
And then I'm really doing like timelines like Christopher Nolan here, but we have a show. Do you want to talk about that? I mean, your mouth is open like you don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, no, I was going to say one before we do, because it's way before that. September 21st, I'll be at Scamps. Not Scamps, Murphy's Tap Room for Scamps.
Oh, if we're going in order, then there's like 80 things I didn't mention yet. But
yeah, for you.
Yeah, there's too many of mine to mention. Sorry, Wayne. Go on omp.com/shows or openmicpain.com/shows, and I'm gonna pay the $3 or $5 a month, I think, to get all of our shows to populate on there. It only does like the first 7 right now
because they're starting to pop up quick.
Yep. So you'll be able to go on there, see the calendar. We've separated them by Anthony and Wayne's and Anthony and Wayne's. So those will be awesome. We can update them from our phones now. So that should be way better and up to date on that for all 0 of you that care about that. But yeah, Revere, Brookline, New Hampshire, and those are the next ones. Chelmsford, fun things. We'll be all over. And then now the next one after for you on the 21st is the 12th, right?
Yeah. Yeah, after the one you're headlining. For me, it's the 12th, yep. The second
OMP.
Yep. Go ahead. You do it.
I was going to say it together. I thought we were going to ring in the thing, but you're very cautious about stepping on, which is good. OMP Productions, Westford, Massachusetts. You should explain where it is, Wayne, because you found this venue as well.
Yeah, it's the H.E. Fletcher Club. It's right off Route 40. So it's exit 86 on Route 3. Nice little hall. They got a nice stage, a little bar in the back. Very conducive to comedy. It's going to be a showcase with, once again, Jacques Lambert hosting. Excellent host. We're bringing back Justin George. We have Kaylee Krenzer, Chef Phil Thompson, and then Anthony and myself rounding it off. And yeah, it'll be a great show. Place holds 110. So we're going to really start pushing those and trying to fill those seats in. I think it's going to be incredible. It's going to be a good time.
Yes, and this one we do have to worry about the tickets. So I am enjoying the idea of the process of that, making the videos, the flyers. You printed out some business cards you've been leaving some places. We've got some flyers hanging up. So we are doing old school gumshoe style comedy show production stuff. So we'll see if it pays dividends in the town of Westford. Yeah.
I've been leaving those little cards. It's got the flyer on the front, the QR code on the back with a promo code for $10 tickets.
Westford's a good, experiment for your thought process as well, because it's also a pretty small town.
Yeah, but it's also 10 minutes from Lowell. It's 10 minutes from Nashua.
Well, that's what I mean. So technically, it should be in its it has all the benefits that a small town would need to draw if it was going to draw, and I think it's gonna. So I'm excited to see, because that would be I would have to take an L on the small towns don't draw for shit train if that works.
Yeah.
We're pumped about that one. So after that, the rest of October, you're doing a showcase at Wicked Funny in October.
Yep, I'll be back at Wicked Funny, hopefully on the 3rd if I pull through on Friday. But if not, I'll be back on the 20th as well for a showcase. So that'll be fun. I don't know who else is on. I think Jacques on it.
He's gonna do it.
I don't know anybody else that's on it though. I haven't really got much more info on it yet. Still a little ways out. So
nice. Yeah, cool. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
And then so we're gonna be doing all kinds of shit in October and November and all those things, and that's the documentary part of the stuff. We've been doing lots of things. Now, Wayne? I think it's been a while since we've talked about what the next step of goals are. So let's start. What are your goals for 2025?
For 2025? Fuck.
Yeah, we're getting to the end of the year here, and we
Yeah,
kind
I
of
know.
already know what our like. I got the fucking New Year's booked right now, so that's the time. Our goals this year are already in picture. So next year is kind of where the unknowns sit.
Yeah. I think it's going to be similar to last year. I think I'm going to be close to. I think last year I said I wanted to have a good 20 minutes, which I think by the end of the year I might. I'm doing 15 now pretty easily and with consistent laughter. And I'm pretty positive. I'm pretty confident I have another 5 that I can throw in there that would be decent. That if I worked on a little harder, I could get to that good 5. But in terms of like working goals, and I think it's just work with a more variety of companies. Like I would like to spread out a little more. I'd like to continue doing things for Mic'd Up Comedy. I'd like to work with Scamps, maybe McHugh, maybe Mark Moshe. So I'd like to get in and meet some more of these people and diversify a little bit with some of these people putting on shows, as well as putting on our own shows, and hopefully a little more seriously, maybe becoming a little bit more of a player in that end of it.
Wayne is a player, everybody. That's for fucking sure. Plays the game. I don't know what mine would be. That is, I made you go first so I can think about mine whilst not listening to you. And in the end, I listened to you and didn't think about my thing because yours was very interesting. You had a good pact. Yeah, I think to me, like I said, I'm pretty confident in doing 20 minutes. So I think my goal for next year is to be able to get to a strong feature, you call it. So a strong feature would be getting to consistent being able to do half an hours. So that would be exciting. I have half an hours. I wrote out I sent it to you basically. I wrote out my jokes that into categories of I know these work. These are new jokes I have to work. And these I know work but are in reserves. And those all added up are over 30 minutes. But it's just, I really want to be able to, the best thing I'm able to do right now, this is interesting actually. I don't think we've talked about this. So for the first time, I'm able to look at a crowd and for a opener to host to soft feature set, so 15 to 17 to 18 minutes, I can tailor my set based on the crowd. So for instance, if I see an older crowd, I got a version of my set that I particularly have for that where it's softer landing, the like I don't do my giraffe joke in it, like things like that I just take out and they go. And then a younger screwing crowd, I can bring in my other material and I can sprinkle it in and add more. So the scary part about doing a headlining set or later is the fact that they have to get what they're going to get every joke. So, I mean, a lot of the jokes. So I can't pull the plane to the left if they're older. So that's the scary part. That's why I'm trying to do so much new stuff is I want the ability to tailor sets. It feels really confident enhancing to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I've been thinking about that more and more. When we had Dobie on, we were talking about the power of the word fuck. So I went on that little thing of writing clean material. And my view on clean material and my view on that whole thing has really changed, I think. It is important to have clean material. You don't want to have vulgar, coating my throat and cum and whatever, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I want to get booked. But I have been more, I should say, less cautious about throwing a few fucks into a set. Like it's okay. Like I can do that. I can throw a shit. I can throw an asshole. And I feel like it is enhanced. I still agree with him that you need to put it where it's going to enhance the joke and not just be willy-nilly about it. Because if you say
What's an
fuck
example in your set of where you say fuck to enhance it that you've been doing?
So like we'll go back to my set about my son being an asshole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I always said asshole. But when I started saying asshole, I would say, he's not a person. He's an asshole. And now I'm throwing in, he's a fucking asshole, and is getting such a bigger laugh. You know, because I don't think people are expecting to hear a father talk about their kid like that. You know what I mean? There's that. And there's just been other little spots where I've noticed I've gone from the PG word and just kind of reverting back to something a little stronger to hit the point home.
I do hate. So the thing I'm not talking about yours, but in general of clean material is when someone's like, let's say they don't want to say butthole, so they're like, on his belly button donut hole or something like that, and they say this like really hacky version of where you're like, just say fucking butthole, because the hackiness of trying to be clever around the word butthole is so much worse than just saying the actual word of it. So for me, I can't write. Like, I'm not writing right now going, I need clean shit, so make sure I write the jokes clean. I'm more trying, because jokes happen randomly to me. I'm just like, I need to get more jokes so that, there's a percentage of them that's going to be cleaner, and there's a percentage of them that's going to be not. And I need the percentage up so I can throw in more into them. But I can't ever tailor anything towards it. It's the jokes are what they are in my book. I know that it's say gratuitously fuck when you don't have to, when you have to do a squeaky clean set, but that's not more what we're talking about. I'm more talking about, we're not doing any place that says you have to be clean. I'm more talking about if there's 70-year-olds and 60-year-olds and old ladies, and it's mostly that, and they're eating dinner. Well, they might not have told you should be clean, but you need to tailor your set around that a little bit so that you keep people comfortable. And that's going to mean not throwing in, maybe instead of calling the people from California sober fucking huge pieces of dog shit, you can call them pieces of shit. Stuff there.
Have you seen this yet? Have you done like a showcase or anything like that where there's a real crowd, obviously, and some of the comics kind of tailor towards the comics to make the comics laugh versus the crowd laugh?
Yeah, of course.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that that's the jokes that they have, and that's what I'm trying to prevent myself. There are some people that, because open mics are tough to get laughs at, they're jokes that there are a lot of people that crush at open mics and can't crush at shows because, like you said, jokes are tailored to comics that are there. And I really don't think it's so tough for me, at least, to believe people can, in our position, like thoughtfully write jokes in a style that they want to write in and only the way that they want to write in. That's like, oh, I'm going to write for this, or I'm going to write for like what you're talking about. Like, I'm going to write to make these comics laugh, not to make the crowd laugh. They're just doing their jokes, they're just doing what they wrote in their head. Just some of them can't. Some of them don't ever go, regular people need to hear this. They're just going, this is what's funny to me, and some brains are warped, you know what I mean? But yeah, you definitely see it where you see a host go up there and do like Holocaust jokes, and you're like, man, you don't know. You don't get it.
I had that happen to me where I had a host go up before me and just do some stuff which I thought was absolutely hilarious, but the crowd wasn't having it. And right before I went up, I heard some lady say, "I can't eat." I was like, cool. But
food sucks in comedy. We should make that illegal, by the way. I know the venue wants to make money. I get it, venues out there who aren't listening to this, but fuck you. There's way too much bullshit when it comes to food being involved. And I say this as a guy who has to open shows all the time and watch people order food in front of them and not listen to you at all. So you're just saying your jokes into the abyss. And then you're like, oh, thank God they're done ordering. I can get into my jokes. And your next couple jokes work. And then they get the food. And then the whole, like, 3/4 of the middle of your set are bullshit because they're eating and not paying attention to you anymore. And then they're done and they're like, oh, I'm tired. And then the waitress got to come grab the shit and give the check.
But Anthony, how is a venue going to make money if they can't sell drinks and food and charge you for the room?
I don't know, Wayne. They need to downgrade their yachts to smaller sized boats, and then they would be able to do it. But who would allow that in this world? We can't ask that of them. Instead, I need to watch somebody get really mad at Giraffe because they were eating while I said it. Motherfucker. But yeah, that's what I mean, though. So I went to, I should talk about this too. I went to Hartford with Mike Katrobis a couple weeks last week.
Oh yeah, this is a good story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
I'm an as they used to say on the old was it Art Bell show. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, I can't believe you listen to Art Bell. He did a lot of UFO stuff. Love that guy. So yeah, I go to Hartford, Connecticut, and I'm really excited to go there because I've never done comedy in Connecticut. Really just got Vermont left for my New England states, and then we'll get all of those. So we go to the venue. It's great, awesome place. It's a comedy club in a building, so it's a nice little setup. They have room dividers, which I think the place in Westford has, which is nice, where it's like if you have more people, you can divide the room, which is a fantastic idea.
The Fletcher Club does not have that.
Is it it was another one.
There was another
visited,
place
right?
that we were talking to that we might or might not do that had it.
Well, definitely might not. And it was pretty fucking sweet that I saw that at the place in Westford. I mean, in Hartford, and that was awesome. And I think it's Westerfield or wherever the fuck. We weren't in Hartford, actually. We were right outside of it, but I don't remember. And anyways, so this was the issue. This is a 3-man show. This is an opener, a feature, and a headliner. So there isn't any, you're going up to a cold crowd when everybody's sitting down, and that's the job. So you're going to go up there to break their attention, get it in and do it. And I had just been doing, I closed out Gibbs. I did a couple sets in the middle, did some sets. Didn't really do it. You opened in one, and I got to go later when it came to the Frog Brewing. So there was...
I was hosting there. You went
Yeah,
last,
you're
I
hosting.
think.
And I went last, yeah. So
Yep.
I just was spoiled for like a good 2 months where I was just doing warmed up crowds ready to go, and I was fucking crushing every set, and I'm like, this is easy. And then you go back to that when you're like, holy shit, this is hard. And it made me, I just was doing my set the way I'd been doing it for months, the same order, all that. It's been crushing. Obviously, I throw a new joke because I got new jokes every time, basically. But
Can we touch on that real quick? You say like going back to that is whatever. Get used to that, I think, because I've gotten offered like the Murphy's Tap Room, right? Like, so I've been doing 10, 15 minutes pretty consistently on most of the shows I've been doing, but Scamps doesn't know me really at all, so I got offered like an 8-minute set, 8 to 10. You know what I mean? I got offered another show somewhere else. I had to turn it down, but I'm getting, he offered me like 8 to 10, which is fine. But I think that's going to come like as you spread and you start dealing with more people, it's going to come back full circle again. You're going to go from, I think you're going to have that ebb and flow of like, I'm doing really well with this, this booker or whatever, but then this guy doesn't know me, so I'm going to start back at the bottom. It's going to be like that freaking
a little bit, but I think the bottom's easier. I think the bottom's easier than the next step, and I'll explain why. Because right now, the bottom is guest spots, right?
Yeah.
So 8 to 10 minute guest spots. Those are the easiest sets in the world. They're the best sets in the world. I love those sets because they're in usually the middle after everybody's warmed up, and they're short time, and you can do your best jokes. It's as easy as it gets. The next step's harder, where you have to have a solid 15 minutes to be a real opener on a show that is, even hosting is a good example of this, where you have to have a good 10 plus minutes to fill the beginning, and then 5 minutes if you have to throughout the show. And it's way fucking harder than doing guest spots. And then I think it gets a bit easier. Because I think once you get into featuring, if your material's good, in theory, you should have the crowd at their peak attention from there on. Obviously, if people eat shit in front of you, it's harder. But, yeah. I think it's important for our stage now to learn how to adapt to crowds so that when we do feature, I think it'll become more automatic, where you're just, as you're going, you're like, I know what they want, and you can go into that type of material. That, again, I've been working with Mike a lot, Kay, and he is really good at that, at showing up on the spot, getting a feel for the crowd with the openers and the features to see what people are laughing at, and then be able to go, okay, I know what they want, and going out and giving them a set that they want, and it makes it so he, almost never bombs. It's not like I've ever seen him do bad. But yeah. So that was a lot of work I put in the last couple weeks. You saw me back on my Evernote.
Yeah.
I took a little while off of doing that. For a while, I was writing the material, by going on stage and doing a line and just writing it out. And I would never actually put it in my notebook anymore. A lot of my set now is just in my head because I would write down the words to, like, this bit's called this, and I'm like, I know how it goes. That would go. But now I wrote out my bits. I wrote out alternate orders, really thought about where each joke is in there, that it makes sense. And then all this cultivated, why I'm talking about this, is because on last Friday, I did my first fundraiser. So Funny for Funds, which was fucking awesome. There was like 200 people there. Holy shit. But, it's a fundraiser, so there's a completely different way to do comedy in a fundraiser. I didn't think that was going to be the case, but because of Hartford and me not going, I'm not going to eat shit twice in a row, no fucking way, I took really seriously the idea of adapting a set towards a fundraiser. So I did almost nothing of edge, just clever jokes, and that did really good. I did one joke with edge on my last joke, and it did great. But I could see the young people dying in their seats laughing, and I could see the older people squirming in their seats a bit. And I love that in a club. But for a fundraiser, that's not the style. You want to make it fun for everyone.
Yeah. That makes sense. I just like any reaction to a joke. You know what I mean? Like I love the grasping of the pearls just as much as I love a laugh.
I do too.
It's it's just like you listen to like old school wrestlers or whatever, like WWF wrestlers, and you have the heels and the baby faces, and they love whether they get a boo or a cheer because they're getting something.
It's true. And in a club, that is fine. That makes sense. But at fundraisers, they particularly said, we're going for laughs, not for groans.
Yeah.
So it's literally the mantra of fundraisers is almost that style. And you know how my favorite set you ever did, I think, was in Merrimack at the Beatgatten.
Oh, that was so much fun.
And that was a heavy groan set.
Yeah.
But it's just as good as laughs if the energy's right. And it was. Fundraisers, you're like, and there's a sick kid.
There's a difference between like a groan. There's a difference between like a ugh and like a oh type of groan. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just differentiate between that.
You got both of those in Merrimack, but they were good. You got some where some people were like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And then you brought him back with the next joke.
Yeah.
That you were playing with them. That was fun. That's why I liked it so much. Felt like you were taking them into deep water and then pulling them back out, taking them in, pulling them back out. It was just like a nice little metric you got there.
Yeah.
And, I think that crowd was really good. And I look back on it and I'm like, damn, they were incredible. And I had a right set there because hosting. It just is what it is. They like you 25% less. Nothing we can do about that. We've talked about that enough. All right, we got anything else to wrap up before we go?
Yeah, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
If there was one comic that you could have worked with, I'm just fucking kidding with you. I was doing that joke.
The last question for...
Yeah.
Yeah, the last terrible question that Wayne has. It's kind of like, I wish that you could go to death row when people are about to get put down and just annoy them one last time right before they go. Like, they're like, oh, inject this guy. And you're like, wait. What's your favorite color? That's how I see all your last questions. They're just always, what's my favorite color? Who do you want to work with next year? Number one comedian that you're going to work with next year.
Oh, that I would like to work. I have so
Aim
many.
big. Aim big, Wayne.
Well,
in your wildest dreams.
Oh, I couldn't even go wildest. I mean, it would be if you're talking like unattainable.
Your realistic wildest dreams.
Realistic what? I mean, I have a list of people that I would love to do shows with. That's a good question.
Right?
I mean, I'm doing. Tony V would be up there, but that's Friday, so I mean that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a contest. Real show with Tony V. You can get this year, I think, because he's going to love you at the contest.
It is a contest, but I still get to share a stage with him, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I thought you said open.
Oh no, if you're talking opening, yeah, I would love to open for Tony V.
Yeah, that's
Lenny
right. That
Clark
was my
obviously would be
original
awesome.
question. Lenny Clark, incredible.
I mean, obviously Steve Sweeney would be great as well. I mean, you said that was incredible, so that'd be fun.
It is fun for him to try to destroy your life, but in in the best way possible.
I mean, you got Bob Marley.
Bob Marley's a
Brian
great
Glowacki,
one.
He's really killing it right now. He's doing a lot of like fun looking shows. I wouldn't mind doing something with him.
Yeah, that is a good one. I'm gonna say Bob Marley for mine. Actually, I'm gonna take that from you.
Yeah,
He's someone who, when we have people on who are legends and they're talking about like, oh yeah, I worked with Joe Rogan, I worked with that. We've had some people say I've worked with Bob Marley, as like that guy's that level of comedian. And you don't think about it because we never see him anywhere because he doesn't go to the open mics or anything like that we go to at least.
yeah.
But that motherfucker's doing theaters everywhere all the time. Constantly just
He's at the
filling
Bull
theaters.
Run, right? Not far from me, all the time. There's
Yeah.
a restaurant called the Bull Run. He's there all the time.
Oh, really? A restaurant? It's not a theater?
No, it's like a legit restaurant. I think they have like a function room that he does.
See, you know why? It's because in Maine, this is his stomping ground up by me. So everywhere I see signs for him, it's always like the biggest theater near us.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
you know,
that's a
I'll
good
say I have another answer for you. Something that is, I will say, almost unattainable, but potential. Tammy Piscatelli. She does shows all over the place here.
Yeah, that's not unattainable, I don't think. So basically, the path towards that is Giggles.
Yeah.
How do you get on Giggles?
I think, I don't know.
Like, Pat's on Giggles. I wonder if Pat it's just who you know. Like, for instance, Pat's close with Steve Sweeney. Maybe Steve Sweeney.
It is all networking, right?
It's all networking. It's all who you know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Giggles is even like, I wonder we should go there sometime just to do some recon. Maybe do an episode about a Giggles show just to see what are the comedians like? What is the crowd like?
Mm-hmm.
What are they looking for?
Yeah,
And talk about a legendary room.
it's nice because we're gonna in the next few years, whatever, we're gonna be in the position where our kids are older. Things are gonna be easier to get out more. You know what I mean? It's tough. I mean, you got two young ones. Mine's a little older than yours, but not by much. And it is tough. It's tough to get out as much as you would like to.
It is, but the way I've been looking at it is, I think that these are our formative years in comedy, obviously. Meaning, what we do right now, I don't know how much it matters. See, we're building a good foundation and all that kind of stuff, but it's almost like we're a fetus right now, and being born is being a headliner. Like, that's the first day into your world, is being able to like do 45 minutes on a blah blah blah. And by the time we can competently do that, our kids will be older. So that's really the time where we're going to want to flex our wings and go around and do all that stuff anyways. So I think our timelines are looking pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta say, and I get this. I've had this said to me by multiple people. And I kind of credit this podcast, I think, a lot for a lot of it, rather. Just like the opportunity, I don't say the opportunities, but the things that we've been able to do in a year and a half have been incredible. Just between the people that we've met, the opportunities we got, and then just the, obviously putting the work in and just trying to grow. I think this podcast has a lot to do with that, because we get to meet a lot of people that we not necessarily wouldn't have been able to meet before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. We do a lot of shows with people that we met on the podcast, and there's only a certain amount of ways you're going to do that. And I think that open mics are so. When I first started, I thought that an open mic was the only way that there is to get better, and it is a great way to get better. But I think that the other two options, which are, don't go to an open mic, go to a real show and watch it and see how real people work, I think that's really valuable. And I also think that podcasting, just even if you do it on Zoom, like we did the other night with Jacques, where You know, that's
Like
we didn't
workshopping,
even
yeah.
record that. We just got together to talk about comedy and bits and all that, and that was so invaluable because I got a whole joke out of that.
Yeah, and I got a nice opening joke. The Jacques helped me with. I had a premise, and I had this idea of it being this whatever minute long joke, and he's like, dude, that's a 3-line joke, and I did it at the show on Saturday. And it fucking crushed. And I did it again on last night at the open mic, and did fucking crushed. It's fun, and that Jacques was in the crowd both times, and he was just glowing because he's like, that was my line. So it's nice to give those punches and those punchlines and those tags or whatever, and see them work on stage, and then also to get them and be able to do it justice for the people that gave them to you.
And you don't get those without talking shop about comedy, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a worthy... What is it, Wayne?
Yeah, no, it's worthy. It's very worthy.
Step for the quest for laughs, you dumb piece of shit. Good night, everybody. Set you up to finish the episode by saying,
I don't know if your internet's fucked up, but you're a pixelated mess right now.